गणानान्त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आन शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामभिद्यवत् ॐ गणेशाय नमः ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः शुक्लां वरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये वागीशाद्याः सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यं नत्वा कृतकृत्याः स्युः तं नमामि गजाननम् वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय कोटिसूर्यसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषम् पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिम् व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति Shanti Shanti. Om Shanno Mitrasham Varunah Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Brahaspatihi Shanno Vishnurukramah Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Rutam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaram Avatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karne Bhishrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stushtvagum Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitai Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brahaspatir Dadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Yasya Sannidhi Matrena Sarve Shishyascha Sevakaha Karma Kshetre Pravartante Chinmayam Tam Namamyaham Chinmayam Tam Namamyaham Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavahatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Sadgurum Tam Namami Sadgurum Tam Namami. Welcome everybody. 2 weeks ago we started this Adhyatma Prakasha series, and we started with several aspects of our culture. Our Adhyatmika Samskriti, just to recap a couple of points from the previous lectures. Our Bhautika Samskriti, our Adhyatma Samskriti being our spiritual culture. Our Bhautika Samskriti is our material culture. And in general about pursuit of happiness. And most importantly, we started off with Shreya, Preya, Viveka. Last week, we learnt about the classification of our Shastras. Shruti, Smruti, Itihasa, Purana, all these classification. And Vedas are our source book and as the basis of our culture. We called it Apurusheya Grantha because it is not a man-made entity or created by any human intellect. We learned that there are 4 Vedas, there are Shadangas, 6 limbs of the Vedas, and Upavedas. We learned that there are 3 subdivisions to each of the Vedas, the Karma Kanda, the Upasana Kanda, and the Gnana Kanda. And the purpose of this karma is Chitta Shuddhi, purification of our mind. And Chitta Ekagrata is the result of the Upasana leading to the knowledge of self. That is where we had ended, and we start this thing, that today's lecture, with, because we have impurities of our mind, they're called as vasana, which are our inherent tendency. Vasanas generally manifest as our raga, likes, dvesha, dislikes. All actions or even inactions are driven by our likes and dislikes. What it does, because of vasanas, we perceive an object or a situation, respond to an object or a situation, there is a result, we create more vasanas, we like certain things, we like to do what we like to do, we dislike what we don't want to do, things like that. So vasana, kriya, chinta, phala, again vasana. This is the sorry go around I was talking about in the last class. So the purity of mind is the first step, and that is attained through karma kanda portion of the Vedas. Then we have chitta ekagrata, single pointedness. After the mind is purified, after chitta shuddhi has happened, chitta ekagrata is attained through the upasana portion of the Vedas. Most of us have the idea that karma kanda refers only to some rituals, homas, yagnas, pujas, etc. Then we wonder, how do I do all this? And then we get frightened. So in the karma kanda, there are different karmas or actions prescribed for different purposes. And these can be categorized under 5 broad categories. Number 1, kamya karma, desire prompted actions. Then you have nitya karma, daily obligatory duties, and I will explain each one of those a little bit. Kartavya karma, duties enjoined by others. Samskara karma, rituals performed for purification. Nishiddha karma, which is a prohibited action, that's a no-no. Let's go to kamya karma. Kamya karma, actions are performed driven by a particular desire to get a particular result. We do kamya karma. They are done by our choice. For example, Jyotishtoma yaga. For attainment of heaven, this yaga is done. Putra kameshti yaga, we know from Ramayana, for conceiving children, this yaga is done. If I have no desire to go to heaven, or no desire to have a particular object, I do not need to perform these sacrifices. Then we go to nitya karma. These are obligatory duties prescribed by the Vedas, depending on the stage of life you are in, whether you are a student, whether vidyarthi, whether you're a gruhastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi, etc. And so for a brahmachari, a student, Gayatri Japa is a daily duty for a student. Similarly, duties are prescribed for gruhasthas, vanaprasthas, sannyasis, for daily duties. These are duties meant to bring discipline into our lives, to discipline the mind. Now, kartavya karmas. These are actions prescribed by others, such as parents, Parents give us instruction. Teachers tell us what to do, what not to do. The government tells us what to do, what not to do. Our place of employment. These are all kartavya karma. As you know, success comes to those who are disciplined in life. Vedas tell us to be steadfast in our duties, whether they are simple daily duties, nitya karma, or enjoined by others. Do not worry about what others are doing or not doing. Only worry about your own duty. So in Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, there are many of these type of instructions, injunctions. Do this, don't do this. Generally, if one says do this, then what do? We ask, why should I? If one says don't do this, then we ask, why not? Once, this is our Guruji, Puja Guruji's joke. Once there was a boy who taught 10 commandments, and the teacher was teaching 10 commandments, and the teacher asked the little boy, do you know what happens when you break one of the 10 commandments? And the boy immediately responded, 9 will remain. Jokes apart, we feel in life we are given so many rules to follow. We feel that we are bound. But the scriptures say, hey, you are already bound because of your likes, raga, and dislikes, dvesha. And we are actually releasing you from that bondage. It's something like, I was suffering from high blood pressure. I go to the doctor. Doctor tells me, stop eating pickles. I say, stop eating pickles? That is the only thing that tickles my tongue. He says, no pickles, no papad. You have to eat only bland food. You say, doctor, you're making me sick with all your do's and don'ts. And the doctor says, you're already sick. I am giving these instructions that you can follow them closely and you will be healthy again. Similarly, our rishis are like our spiritual doctors. They are giving us instructions to cure our spiritual illness. Then we have these samskara karmas. These are karmas performed as purificatory acts. Example, like birth of a child. We do namakaranam, graduation, we do upanayanam, we have a marriage ceremony. Why do we do all these rituals? So that the performance of these rituals will create an impression on the mind called samskara vidhi. It gives a sense of new beginning to fulfill. When a person takes an oath of office, we administer the oath to him, he feels that I have to do my best to fulfill my responsibility. Then prayaschitta karmas, they also fall under this category of samskara karma. Then we have nishiddha karma. As the name itself indicates, These are prohibited actions like stealing, prostitution. All these must be avoided. It's a no-no. Okay? Thus, what we have done, we have seen various karmas like kamya karma, nitya karma, kartavya karma, samskara karma, etc. The main purpose of these karmas is for purification of our mind, impressing upon a higher sense of duty and responsibility towards the society in general, not just me and mine. That brings us to the karma siddhanta in Vedanta. So, what is karma? The word karma itself means action. Each individual reaps the fruits of his or her action, either performed in this life or in the past lives. There is no deed, small or great, good or bad, that can be without an effect. You know, karma is not a fate-driven theory. Once we understand how our vasanas drive our actions, we may hastily conclude that we are helpless victims of our past vasanas. This is true to animals, that all the actions that they do will follow an innate pattern, kind of like a pre-programmed life. But human beings, as the crown jewel of creation, has the unique capacity, what we call as self-effort, called purushartha, which helps him or her to choose the right actions regardless of his or her vasanas. Remember, a couple of sessions ago, we talked about Shreya and Preya Viveka, the path of the pleasant and the path of the good. That fourth, when we come to, we have the discriminatory intellect. With our self-effort, we need to choose. Although we have come to this world to enjoy or suffer because of our past karmas called prarabdha, we still have the freedom called self-effort, purushartha. There are 4 types of purusharthas. Next time, when you are performing a puja, or the pujari chants the mantra, Chaturvida Pala Purushartha Siddhyartham, you pay attention. What are they? They are dharma, righteous action; artha, acquisition of wealth and any other worldly possessions; kama, fulfillment and enjoyment of desires; and finally, moksha, liberation from the cycle of births and deaths. Please note here, dharma is listed as the first purushartha and moksha is the highest purushartha or the ultimate goal of human existence. These are the two bookends, and in between we have artha and kama as the two pillars out of the four pillars that needs to be obtained through the methods sanctioned by dharma towards moksha. That is the purpose of these four purusharthas. Now, karmas are mainly performed by three of our instruments. Kayaka karma, by the body. Vachika karma, speech. Manasika vyapara, mind. Now, after performing these actions, it leads to results, pala. And the results that follow can be categorized into three parts. Punya karma. If we do meritorious or dharmic actions, it leads us to good results. They are called as punya karma. Then you have papa karma, wrong or adharmic actions leading to bad results. Then you have a mishrita karma, actions giving you mixed results, a little bit of punya, a little bit of papa. Now, let's analyze a little further. What are the karmas by mind at the thought level? Noble thoughts about devotion to the Lord, bhakti, vairagya, dispassion, charity, dhanam, spiritual evolution. They are all classified examples of punya karmas at the mind level. Lustful thoughts pertaining to sense enjoyment, harming others, disrespecting scriptures, traditions, dharma are all mental papa karmas. Then you have karmas by speech, words. Regularly reciting scriptures, chanting mantras, hymns, singing devotional songs, speaking the truth, noble words of love, compassion. They are all punya karmas by speech, vachika karma. Disrespecting scriptures, verbal abuse of the Lord, verbal abuse of Mahatmas, sadhus, engaging in lies, deception, unsympathetic thoughts are all examples of papa karma by speech. Karmas by body, actions, bathing in holy waters, prostrating to the Guru, prostrating to the Lord, saintly people, performing puja, seeking the presence of holy people, satsang, sacrifice and discipline are all examples of kayaka karma. Immoral acts, causing injury to others, body level, thought level also, associating with cruel people are all papa karmas at the body level. Troubling others while doing a good deed, disrupting, misappropriation of wealth and property while doing good work, like building temple or ashrams, etc. Giving charity, not giving enough remuneration to the services rendered are all examples of papa karma. So the law of karma is logical, based on the theory of cause and effect. We are usually ignorant of our actions done in our past lives that has created our present destiny. So to understand this cause and effect relationship, let us look at the rules of that relationship. There are 4 rules. There cannot be an effect without a cause. So the effect cannot come out of thin air. The effect is none other than the cause in another form. It manifests in another form. If the cause is removed from the effect, nothing of the effect will remain. And the cause is always concurrent and inherent in the effect. So this play of cause and effect can only take place in the medium of time. First, there must be a cause, followed by an effect. If I say, from the seed, the tree is born. Seed is the cause, tree is the effect. Similarly, if I say this cloth is made of cotton, cotton is the cause and cloth is the effect. Therefore, the past is the cause and the present is the effect. And the present itself becomes the cause with reference to the future. That's why we always say present is the present from the Lord. Since we exist in the present, we are not only the effect of our past called prarabdha, but also the architects of our future. Our Gurudev, Puja Gurudev, had the best definition for destiny versus self-effort. What we meet in life is destiny. How we meet what we meet in life is self-effort. What a beautiful statement. That gives us the ability to do the best in our present moment. We always talk about live in the present, the power of now and all that now. Our Puja Gurudev has said this a long time ago. I want you to ponder on a few thoughts while you're reflecting on these statements. Think as to where does grace of the Lord fall under. What about the grace of the Guru? Think about self-effort versus destiny. You know, that is why law of karma plays a very important role if properly understood, that we can be the architects of our own future. The past modified in the present becomes the future. that leads us to the theory of reincarnation, which the scriptures say that jiva, or the individual being, travels from one life to the other life, acquiring various bodies and environment best suited to exhaust his or her vasanas, or any innate tendencies that are usually expressed as desires, emotions, actions. So the exhaustion of these vasanas allows jiva to reach the ultimate goal, to complete freedom from the cycle of birth and death called samsara. This is the realization of our true nature. You know, our actions are finite. Karma, whenever we do, it gives us karma pala, the result of action. And all our actions are finite. So the results obtained cannot be infinite. Results are always finite and limited. But the attachment created is permanent. So the upliftment for an individual comes only when we turn karma to karma yoga. How do we do that? A 3-point plan. When we dedicate the karma to the Lord, it purifies the mind. Chitta Shuddhi happens. This is how we divinize our actions. Number one, kartavya karma, our obligatory duties, must be performed and done in such a way that it is dedicated to the Lord. It is called as arpita buddhi, Ishwara arpita buddhi. Number two, when we are performing our actions, do it as worship of the Lord. Dasya buddhi. You work through me, O Lord. That is as dasya buddhi. Surrender. Number three, all karma phala, whatever comes as the result, to be accepted as prasada buddhi. While doing action, we need to recognize the Lord as karmadhyaksha, giver of results. And while working, and recognize him as karma paladata, while receiving the result as his prasada. That is how you divinize your actions. From divinization of our action, now we turn our attention how to divinize our emotions. With the attitude of devotion, what happens? All our negativities get dissolved. Devotion is pervading the yoga of action. That leads us to the second portion of the Vedas called Upasana Kanda. Upa means near. Asana means sitting. Sitting near what? Sitting here does not mean sitting near physically. A good example would be a log of wood near fire. Imbibes the quality of the fire, it becomes warm and even catches fire if it is dry enough. Similarly, when I sit for upasana and do Ishta Devata upasana in front of the idol, Pratima, our Puja Gurudev used to say, you need to focus on the ideal behind that idol. You know, there are two aspects, a pratika and a pratima. A flag of a nation is not just a piece of cloth. It represents the values and aspirations of a nation. Similarly, a upasaka, when he meditates on Lord Rama, he needs to see how Sri Rama was a perfect human being, a perfect king, a perfect son, a perfect husband, a perfect brother, and even a perfect enemy. So that leads us to Pujanam, Japa, and Chintanam. For puja, you need to have a body because it's a kayaka karma. You worship the form of the Lord. Japa is a repetition of the mantra. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Repetition of the name of the Lord is japa. Chanting the name of the Lord is japa. Then chintanam is the meditation or contemplation. We have the body, we have the speech, and we are blessed with a beautiful mind. So the three aspects, the form of the Lord, the name of the Lord, and the essential nature of the Lord. Let me illustrate that with an example. With puja, you use the body. With speech, with puja, you use the body, speech, and the mind, all three. It's like riding a tricycle. Easy to balance, easy to focus. With japa, but with the body, what do? You worship the form of the Lord. Okay? Then with japa, it is riding like a bicycle. That is with the speech. you do the japa on the name of the Lord. With the bicycle, you need to balance and keep the mind focused, channelize it. Then with Chintanam, it gets a little more subtler. With mind alone, you do Chintanam of the Lord to become one with it. Chintanam is much more subtler as it is supported only by the mind. Kind of riding like that unicycle. Lot tougher. Then you have, different types of puja, japa, chintana. Stuti is prarthana. Subtler is japa. Keep repeating the Lord's name. There are different types of japa. Ucha japa. Ucha japa is like parashruti gochara, meaning people next to you can hear. Leading to manda japa, swashruti gochara. Only you are able to hear. And then to manasa japa. Only your lip is moving. Slowly, mind is quieter. So in the Upasana portion of the Vedas, a lot of these type of vidhis, procedures are prescribed where we are given a pratika, like the symbol Om, representing a greater ideal upon which you fix your mind. So the Chintanam is a manasika vyapara, mental transaction with the Lord. You start with Saguna Sakara, the Lord with the form and attribute, slowly leading to Nirguna Nirakara, formless, attributeless Brahma. By this practice, over the years of puja, japa, chintana, you make the mind purified and single-pointed. Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata, it becomes a powerhouse of energy for recipient of this highest knowledge. That is module number 3 for today. That leads us to our symbolism topic today in terms of what is the spiritual significance of Namaste. Namaste. A traditional Hindu greeting of Namaste is for one and all. It is so appropriate during this pandemic time where there is no contact needed to greet another person. It is done by reverentially joining the palms of your hand at the chest and humbly bowing down the head. In Sanskrit, Namaha Te is Namaste. It means I bow down to you. My prostrations to you. My salutations to you. Namaha literally interpreted as namama, namama, meaning not mine. The spiritual significance of that is to negate one's ego, a sense of separateness. It is symbolically telling that I recognize the divinity in you, the divinity in every person we greet. For the life principle in me is the same in you, same in all. So the joining of the palm depicts that sense of oneness. This is the perfect greeting, non-contact greeting, so appropriate during this pandemic times. And next, I also want to talk our SV temple has been conducting Brahmotsavam during this week. And I'm truly honored to speak during this occasion. Brahma means Bruhatvat iti Brahma, that which is large, that which is grand. And Utsava means celebration. So Brahmotsava means grand celebration of the Lord. The Utsava Murti, the processional deity, in our temple, it is the presiding deity is Lord Venkateshwara, and his consorts are Shri Devi and Bhudevi. They are taken on a procession with several of the Vahanas. Elaborate rituals are done. These Utsavas not only are celebrations, not only give us an opportunity for merrymaking, but they give us noble divine vision to inspire our minds to the heights of that greater goal. They purify our mind, prepare us to face life with more enthusiasm, to live life fully and happily. So I would appeal to all of you to not only attend these celebrations at the temple, following distancing guidelines, but contribute to the temple generously during this time. Temple in North America is not only a place of worship, but it is also a social and cultural center. It is a great celebration of the Lord. Despite the pandemic, the temple authorities have made extraordinary efforts to make sure that the celebrations go on. Please attend and contribute generously. So the key takeaways for today's class is, today we learned about the Karma Siddhanta, which is the basis for reincarnation. We learned about the types of karmas. We learned about how to divinize our actions. That means turn karma to karma yoga. We learned about kayaka karma, vachika karma, manasika karma, and how to think in that regarding puja, japa, chintanam. We learned through that how to divinize our emotions, how to make our mind single-pointed, to gain chitta ekagrata, which will lead from Saguna Sakara Brahma Upasana to Nirguna Nirakara Brahman. I will conclude a few minutes early today because the celebrations are starting. Let us do the concluding prayers. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhave. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. We will see you all next week. Same place, same time. Hari Om.